What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Friday, June 5th, 2026, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now it is 16:23 Eastern Time here in the United States, and I wanted to update you on the situation with Iran, also with Europe. But before I get into that, I wanted to just let you guys know that we currently have U.S. nuclear forces on high alert for some reason. Again, last night they were on high alert as well. We had two unusually long nuclear codes transmitted yesterday evening. They were 142 characters and they were back to back, which is very, very unusual. And now we have some tactical nuclear codes and some regular nuclear codes going back to back. Want to just play some clips here so you can hear what they sound like. So this would be one of the tactical codes, and you can tell if it's tactical because the operator will direct the message to some call sign. They'll usually say for something, and they'll repeat that for whatever, and you'll hear that right now.
Tango Force. Juliet. Alpha. Zulu. November. Mike. 4.
So you could hear her say 4 Tango Force, 4 Tango Force, and then she started reading really fast, and then here was another one. Take a listen to this one.
I say again, 4 Tango Force, 4 Tango Force, Juliet, Alpha, Quebec, Delta.
So 4 Tango Force again, very interesting. And then listen to how fast this lady reads the standard EAM shortly after the tactical one. Listen to how fast she starts reading.
Hotel. 4. 3. Hotel. Yankee. Lima. Foxtrot. Foxtrot. 5.
And if you guys are not aware of what this means, these are codes that are sent out to our nuclear forces. And typically when there's a lot of these going out to our nuclear forces, it usually means some contingency is about to take place. And Reuters, citing sources, reported yesterday evening that an explosion took place at the Al Fahal port in Oman, which has halted the loading of crude oil, and it was caused by a drone attack. So that's very concerning. Probably Iran striking this very important oil terminal in Oman. And unidentified drones were observed flying over Saudi-backed Yemeni Presidential Leadership Council government buildings, presidential offices, and oil facilities in the Hadramaut and Al-Mahra regions of eastern Yemen. So probably reconnaissance drones flying over the Saudi-backed leadership of Yemen. Okay, so these are probably Iranian drones because they don't like the Saudis being in Yemen. And Trump rejected Iran's latest proposal last Friday, telling his aides that Iran needed to make more serious concessions up front, not over an extended period. And we're hearing that Iran permitted monitors at the UN IAEA this week to visit their Bushehr nuclear power plant, but they stonewalled inspectors' demands to verify the condition and location of their enriched uranium stockpile. So the Bushehr reactor is the Russian reactor the Russians built in Iran. It's on the coast of the Persian Gulf. So the Iranians allowed the UN inspectors to see that, but they did not allow the inspectors to see the enriched uranium stockpile. And this update was sponsored by EMP Shield. Guys, EMP Shield has created a special discount just for you, the listeners of the NY Prepper channel. If you go to empshield.com and use the promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And why do you need an EMP shield? Well, this is a special device to protect your vehicle, your RV, your solar generators, your radios from an electromagnetic pulse, which could be caused by a solar flare or potentially a rogue country like North Korea detonating an electromagnetic pulse weapon over the United States that's mounted onto a satellite. So protect your vehicles, protect your RV, protect your radios, protect your generators with an EMP shield. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off. Installation is super simple. This is a veteran-owned business, 100% American-made, and the EMP shields have been tested by the military, okay? And free shipping is included to the entire continental United States. And the link and the promo code are in the description below this video. And the UK and France have finalized plans to lead a multinational mine clearing mission in the Strait of Hormuz within days after an agreement between the US and Iran. So that means that the UK and France will not be clearing mines now, only after an agreement with the US and Iran is made. So guys, there's no end in sight. Okay, the Strait of Hormuz will not be reopened anytime soon, short of Trump launching a full-scale military invasion and a renewed attack on Iran. Okay, Iran is not backing down. In fact, they're escalating. They're striking different countries. They struck Oman last night. They hit Kuwait the other night. And Trump said yesterday that he's not going back into Iran unless American troops die. Okay, so what that means is that we're going to have infinitely high fuel prices. The fuel prices will not be going down anytime soon, which means there's going to be a cascading effect on the price of goods in the US and around the world. Okay, everything is going to go up. All right. And Iran accused the United Arab Emirates of allowing the US and Israel to use its airspace. And two senior U.S. officials said Trump wants to end the war, but Netanyahu wants to resume it, with one official saying sometimes Netanyahu doesn't know when to stop. So there's a complete difference of opinion between Trump and Netanyahu, okay? Initially, Trump was on the same page as Netanyahu. Netanyahu is now completely opposite from Trump. Trump just wants to get any old deal together with Iran to end the war, okay, just like he wanted to do with Ukraine. He doesn't want to continue the war in Iran. He doesn't want Israel to continue to attack Hezbollah in Lebanon. The Trump administration has already pressured Israel to stop bombing targets in Lebanon, okay? So basically the Trump administration is doing the same thing that Biden did with regards to Israel, which is pressuring Israel to give up. Okay, initially the Biden administration supported Israel shortly after October 7, but then after that the support fell off, and if you remember, Biden withheld weapons. Well, Trump is now doing the same thing. He's not withholding weapons, but he's telling Netanyahu that he's got to stop bombing Lebanon. All right, because Trump wants to make that deal with Iran. So Trump is not interested in continuing a war against Iran. He wants it to be ended. Okay, any old peace deal, he doesn't give a crap. He just wants it out of his hair so he can go back to playing golf at Mar-a-Lago. And according to CNN, Israel secretly deployed several dozen elite military, Mossad, and intelligence units to Azerbaijan during the war with Iran. Special operations units were deployed to several locations to carry out intelligence gathering and drone operations. Very interesting. And the Ukrainian president wrote a letter to Putin, and I want to read to you some excerpts from this letter, but basically Zelensky asked Putin for direct negotiations to end the war. He wrote, Ukraine is ready for an all-for-all prisoner exchange, and this could become a good prologue to ending the war. He also said, if you do not personally come to the idea that this war must end, Ukraine will continue to fight for its existence. We will have those who support us. Zelensky also wrote that the front line now is the line from which diplomacy should begin, okay? And Putin has responded to Zelensky's letter, refusing to meet in person, saying he currently sees that there's no point in such a meeting, okay? So, yeah, that's to be expected. So the war in Ukraine is going to continue on, and the latest intelligence shows that Putin is going to begin massive mobilization efforts this year, and he already has war plans all the way through 2028. All right, so the Ukraine war is going to continue, the Iran war is going to continue, and then soon we're going to have the Taiwan war, okay? And all these wars together are going to jack up food prices, jack up fuel prices, and make it very difficult for the average person to have any kind of disposable income. All right, they want to lower our standard of living. They want to squeeze us financially, keep us poor, keep us hungry, keep us weak. Okay. And the Pentagon is going to be canceling their plans to deploy Tomahawk missiles to Germany. So that's big news. We know that they're going to be pulling out troops from Germany. Well, now they're going to be canceling Tomahawk missile deployments. And we're hearing that the U.S. will be deploying nukes into the Baltics and Poland. Okay, so that's a big step. And the Chinese President Xi Jinping will be visiting North Korea next week. And Putin at the St. Petersburg Economic Forum today said that Russia did not supply weapons to Iran during the U.S.-Iran war and that Iran had not requested any. Yeah, right. He added that there is no evidence Iran is pursuing nuclear weapons while acknowledging Israel's concern on the matter. Yeah, right. They're definitely pursuing nuclear weapons. And before I continue with the breaking news, I wanted to mention the sponsor for this update, which is Grumpy GI Gear. Guys, if you're looking for some patriotic t-shirts and you want to show off your love of America and love of Jesus Christ, you got to check out grumpygigear.com. And we know that the 250th birthday of the United States is this 4th of July. So definitely pick up some Grumpy GI Gear t-shirts. They have some really cool stuff. Check out their best sellers here. Some really funny t-shirts. So grumpygigear.com. Check them out for patriotic t-shirts. And there was some new footage that came out from that strike on the Kuwait International Airport 2 days ago. And the footage clearly shows an Iranian Shahed drone directly impacting a civilian terminal at the Kuwait International Airport. Okay, and the Iranians said that this was a Patriot battery missile that hit the terminal, which is a bunch of BS, and now we know that that's BS. But what's the Trump administration doing about it? Nothing. Iran is now striking all these different countries, and they're expanding their strikes more and more, and we're not doing anything about it, so it's only going to make the situation worse. A localized ceasefire brokered by the IAEA took effect on the front line near the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant today, paving the way for crucial power line repairs to prevent the threat of a nuclear accident. The 750 kilovolt power line was disconnected more than 2 months ago, leaving Europe's largest nuclear power plant entirely reliant on a single 330 kilovolt line for the electricity it needs to cool its 6 reactors. In recent weeks, the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant has several times lost access to this line, forcing it to start operating its emergency generators as a last resort. Wow. So the attacks on the power supply for Zaporizhia are continuing. They haven't stopped, and now apparently a localized ceasefire has been brokered to allow repairs. So that situation is very tense. At any moment, that power plant could melt down, and that would be like 6 Chernobyls, okay? Because this thing has 6 reactors, and they're massive. It'd be like 6 Chernobyls. And the U.S. put sanctions on the Cuban president, and Trump said that he would take care of Cuba after Iran. And the U.S. Marine Corps General and Commander of U.S. Southern Command completed a 2-day visit to Guatemala yesterday that included meetings with the President of Guatemala and the Minister of Defense. And if you guys are not aware, they're going to be striking cartels in Guatemala, okay, with the cooperation of the Guatemalan military. So that's a big deal. And what you're looking at here is some new footage coming out of Nevada near Area 51. A YouTuber by the name of Project Fear filmed some kind of aircraft flying over the Area 51 area. And this is a very, very unusual looking aircraft. We don't know what it is, but this is legitimate footage. Some people are saying this is the F-47, the new next generation fighter jet. Interesting to note is that the last vantage point that you could view Area 51 and actually see anything was closed 2 months ago in March. The Tikaboo Peak and the nearby area around Tikaboo Peak, there's some mountain ridges there that you can climb up and see Area 51 from 20 miles away. And with a good camera, you could get some pretty good details. Well, that whole area has been shut down now. And interestingly, I was there in late January, and I posted some videos from the top of Tikaboo Peak. I actually hiked up to the top in the middle of the night with my friend Chook from Chook's Outdoor Adventures, and there were 2 orbs that were flying over the base. And I posted it to my YouTube, and then 2 months later they suddenly closed the whole area down. So that's pretty interesting. I wonder if it's related to me and my footage. And this is pretty interesting. The U.S. Navy started its first round of prototyping with 7 companies for a medium unmanned surface vessel. So this would be a drone ship, a drone destroyer. The U.S. Navy says the objective of the contract is to assess industry's ability to provide a material solution within an accelerated time frame at an affordable cost, with expectations that the first vessel deliveries will be within 12 months of a contract being awarded and all contracted vessels being required within 24 months. So they want these medium-sized unmanned destroyers ready within 1 to 2 years. That's crazy. The Navy says to achieve their goal, they require an existing design with minor modifications or conversions of existing vessels, with a clean sheet design not being an option. They're interested in vessels less than 200 feet in length and less than 500 tons in displacement. Vessel payloads will vary and would include, but not limited to, equipment for intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, the Navy's new Mk-70 launcher system, which is a containerized platform with 4 missile silos, each for long-range missiles, capable of launching Tomahawk missiles, the SM-6 anti-air and anti-ship missiles, and similar. Flight deck space capable of launching unmanned drones, or 2 standard 40-foot shipping containers for cargo, or any other modular container-based system. So this is insane, guys. They want this ship to be able to launch its own Tomahawk missiles, its own interceptor missiles, and launch drones from its deck, so the drones can take off from the deck and land. This is like something out of a sci-fi movie. Absolutely insane. And John Bolton, Trump's former national security advisor, is expected to plead guilty over mishandling classified documents. CNN reported that he has agreed to pay a fine of $2 million, and this is all related to Bolton's book about Trump, where he basically gave some inside details of what it was like working for Trump, which infuriated Trump because it made him look bad and exposed him. And so Trump tried to get him with mishandling classified information, which technically, I guess, any of the briefings that Bolton was a part of were considered classified, and he was not allowed to disclose anything about them. So he's going to now pay $2 million to avoid jail time. And the Venezuelan acting president invited an Indian energy delegation to visit and assess energy cooperation opportunities. The Indian government says they're interested in Venezuela's oil. Okay, so Indian oil companies are going to drill for oil there. And CBS News is considering Joe Rogan as a replacement for Anderson Cooper on 60 Minutes. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be back later on tonight with more breaking news. And until then, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere. And before I continue with the breaking news, I wanted to mention the sponsor for this update, which is Matt Hat Jerky. Guys, if you're a beef jerky lover like myself, you got to try Matt Hat Jerky. This is the best beef jerky I've ever had. I personally met the owner of this company at SHOT Show, and he's actually local to Pennsylvania. This company has an interesting story behind it. He founded this company when he was 11 years old. Yeah, that's right, 11 years old. He's now 19, and he makes gourmet beef jerky, the best jerky I've ever had. He's got over a dozen different flavors, and it's all sourced with U.S. beef, so no foreign beef, no nitrates, and no MSG. So it's all natural American beef jerky. And if you use my promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And you got to go to matthatjerky.com. And I'm going to leave a link in the description down below. That's matthatjerky.com. One word, matthatjerky.com. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off your entire order. And the link and the promo code are in the description down below.